So it's the year 2035. It's our 14th season in charge of OFK Beograd, and we're looking to try and make sure we're back in Europe again this season. The hierarchy for the club is this, and we've got plenty of players in all positions, team leaders, highly influential players, and influential players. Some of the personalities are not great. Rakitic being unambitious as a team leader is probably not ideal, especially when I've named him the captain, and Milicevic being the vice captain as a balanced personality is probably not great either, but we've got good personalities around the team, and hopefully we can make sure our team is really good. We are expected to be finishing in 7th place again, and well, that's always a prediction, it feels like at this point in time. We are quite good. We just need to make sure we do ourselves justice and get ourselves into the top 5 for what, the 5th year running, which would be amazing for our point of view. Sponsorship, we're still getting 1.2 million every year now, and it's the 5th highest in the entire division and the country. So again, it's really useful. And we do have players that are now becoming good enough to be called up to the first team, and with the number of players we do have at this point in time that can be called up and can be used, is very useful to have that situation going forward. And with the likes of Stefan Belic being our first team option, I'm hoping we can keep hold of him. He's wanted though by Granada and Vustovac, and he does have a release clause of 3.4 million. So hopefully we won't be losing him. With the expectations of us getting into the fourth qualifying round of the Europa League and get the top half finish and get into the quarterfinal of the Serbian Cup, I'm hoping we can actually make sense of this and pull it off again. With how we are doing right now and how we have got financially stable, I'm thinking we can do a good job here, even if the finances are slowly but surely trickling away. Even if the sponsorship this year has been really useful and has done ourselves justice. We've already got 2.2 million and I've not done anything. Apparently got investments of 843,000, which is great, and 1.2 million in the sponsorship, so money's coming in regardless. In fact, looking at this, the European club rankings, we've actually gone up by 66 places, so we're now doing better and better there. The European competition ratings, we are actually got the 9th biggest league in Europe. And Milicevic is wanted by a few teams. Partizan and Puskas Academica all want him, so they can just leave him alone, please. Thank you. Coaching wise, we're looking quite good, and slowly but surely we will be improving this. And the fact we've got pretty much all of the areas being 3.5 stars, apart from one part, and the fitness side of things is kind of useful. And it shows that we are definitely getting better and better with the coaching side of things. The facilities being as good as they are, superb, excellent, exceptional, and exceptional is great. I would love to be able to improve the youth facilities, but I can only improve the training facilities right now. So hopefully we can change that in the future, I don't know. And with all the affiliates we currently have right now, I would not be shocked if we were to keep hold of them and not have to worry so much. Monaco being our parent club is potentially the only problem we have, but we have many other clubs that we could just rely on, and it's wonderful. And Banduvich being good is really useful. They are the second tier, so we have a team that we can send players to in the second tier now, which is very, very useful. And we have S. Initra, who could be good for Slovakia players. They are professionals, so they're going to give us some good stuff there. We have Kabel in the lower leagues of Serbia. And Slovac being our second tier club in Bulgaria is useful. Same with Ripensia. Tomasua being the second tier Romania is very good for our point of view. And Suem being another lower league team. This is an amateur side in Serbia is also good. But we've also got a team that potentially could be getting to the second tier of Hungary in the future. So hopefully we can get a lot of teams in the second tier of their country. It'd be nice, wouldn't it, if we can pull it off? But hey, at least we've got something going away right now. So, slight problem. We've lost Stefan Belic to Partizan because they activated his release clause of 3.4 million. And yeah, that's a problem from our point of view. He's played 11 times for them and has only conceded 4 goals, which tells me just how good, 1, their team is, and 2, how good he is. He's in the mid-dream 11, which is a problem. I didn't think I'll be losing an influential player like Belic to Partizan this summer, so slightly awkward. As to how we lost him, well, we're going to go through the fixtures and talk about them because we had actually a good start to the season. We won 3-1 against Baka Palanka. We then took a 1-0 victory against Nebadak Kosovac, and then we drew 3-3 against Partizan, and we were 3-2 up, and they were down to 10 men, and they equalised. A bit annoying, but what can you do? We then took some Pats in the Europa Conference League, and then we won again in the next 2 games. First against Stankom, then against St. Pat's at home this time, before we won against Redniki in the next game in the league. Unfortunately for us, we then took on Osijek and lost 3-1 away from home. We then lost to Vostok 3-1, but we then won against Osijek, but unfortunately it was only by 2-1. Mini-week we lost 4-3 overall in 2 legs. We can't get past the 4th quarter round of the Europa Conference League, and that was what caused the activation or release clause to be available and to be hit. We then won the next 5 games in the league though. Metalek, Korabara, Modest, Lucina, Bersic and Votodina all beaten, before we then beat Sparta. So we actually won 6 straight league games. TSC then drew against us. We then won against Bodonos, and then Novi Pazza were held to hold us to a draw. We then won the next couple of games. 4-0 against Baka Palanka. Novodek were beaten by Swagotina before Palazan beat us 3-0. We then beat Stankom again, this time 3-1, and then got held to a draw by them in the league. And then we beat Nikinis 3-2. We lost to Vostok 4-3 before we got a 1-1 draw against Red Star home in the league. And I'm thinking to myself, this is promising. We're doing quite well for ourselves. So yes, we're actually 3rd place in the league, 6 points clear of Vostok. And I'm thinking to myself, we could actually be in a good shout of, despite losing our best goalkeeper, who's actually got the most clean sheets in the league, of actually winning the league. We actually have a chance of winning the league and being in a very good position for Europe this year, and hopefully avoiding the Europa Conference League because we can't seem to get through the quarterfinal rounds, which is, again, not ideal. But hopefully we could do well and do more and more in the future. But now I'm going to talk about the youth intake preview, and it looks very, very promising. I'm excited for this. We've got a 4.5-star excellent intake, and this could be quite promising. 2 strikers, a fullback, and a winger. That looks good. That's about 4 players already. Hopefully we can get more. If we do, then who knows what might happen. It's already exciting to say the least. I just got my youth intake, and just going to say this here now. This might be the most insane intake I've ever had, and look at the state of this. We're going to go into this over more detail now, but what a thing to arrive to when you just finish something off. Goodness me. So let's just say this is probably the best intake I'll ever have in the save, and I can't believe I got this good of an intake. Yes, some of the personalities could be better, but to be honest with you, I think the personality might not be the issue. So yeah, let's go over these players, shall we? First player is Rodney Sabar. Very good talent. He has low self-belief, but honestly, if we can give in more and more help with his pressure attributes, that is probably the reason why it's low self-belief is a thing, then we'll be good. He's exciting though. Look at the attributes he's already got. We've also got Boban Bondic, and he's fickle, but he's quick. He's quick, but he's a winger. So, things to work on, maybe. We've also got the likes of Veliko Shrovovic, and he's a mercenary, but he can play as a playmaker, as a DM, and 15 passing, 13 decision making, 11 first touch. His vision isn't great, but everything else is really good. I'm excited for this guy. We've got another winger who could be playing further forward, and he's driven. Dragon Mihailovic is quite exciting, and I think if we can give the right attributes in the right areas, he could be a star. We've also got another left back, and he's got the media description of promising fullback, which for me is exciting. And then you look at him and you realize just how good he is. Doesn't have the dribbling I'm looking for in terms of the wing-back role, but he's 15. He's considered a 2-star player, good enough to be a 2nd-tier or 3rd-tier player now. I was thinking he'd be 2nd-tier player until I covered over it. That's a bit disappointing. But he's probably one of the most exciting young talents we have. He can work his pace and his dribbling and his crossing and he's off the ball, but he's still amazing. Why wouldn't I be excited about this guy? We've also got the likes of Durovic, and I think as a striker, he's exciting. A lot of good attributes. He's considered good enough to be a 3rd-tier player still, but again, very exciting young talent. He's only 15. And then we've got the likes of Zoran Banduvich, and yes, he's an ambitious, but he's got a lot of potential, and he's considered a 2-star player already. And yes, I think he could be a star for us. I really do. We've now got a striker who's unsporting, and he's never going to win any awards, but he is going to be one of those players that will get in your face and absolutely cause problems. He's only got 5 finishing and 7 composure. His balance is absolutely useless, but he's got pace, and that's all I care about. We've also got the likes of Matajar Jadradin, and He's got resolute personality. He's not the best with the deep line playmaker role, but he's exciting. He can definitely grow as a player. He's also got 14 heading and 10 jumping reach as 6 foot. He could be useful in the air. We've now got a winger who could be a fullback as well, in the form of Ibrahim Musaja, and I generally think he could be a wingback on support and could do the job quite nicely. He needs pace, but most of the attributes that we need are currently either 9 or 8, and that's exciting to me. He's got good mental attributes as well. He's very useful as far as I'm concerned. And then we've got Shaheer Gaidash, who is a goalkeeper, who's 16, but he's also got a Serbian and Ukrainian nationality. He's exciting, needs work, but he's fairly professional. But with the number of goalkeepers already in the squad and is probably better than him, it could take a while. Nenad Vukovic is our number 1 goalkeeper right now. He's only got 7 clean sheets, but he's exciting. He's considered a top-class player, top-level player, fairly professional. He's still 16. He could be a monster. And then we got his backup in Dragoslav Svodovich. And yes, between the two of them, there's exciting things to talk about. He's 17 and is considered a second-tier player who will be a top-flight player in the future. Between the two of them, we are covered for life, I think, for the next 15 or so years in goalkeeper if we can keep both of them. But it's nice to have that problem and to have someone to solve it. So we're now going to talk about the games we had since we last met, and we've only been 5 of them. MacLeod we beat 1-0. Moldavia Lucina we beat 3-1. Kodabara beat us 2-1. And then we drew the next 2 games against Versage and Vojvodina 0-0 and 1-0 respectively. It's not ideal. We have Spartak Subotica tomorrow and TSC afterwards. Hopefully, we can get to the semi-final of the Serbian Cup for the first time ever and do ourselves justice there. Still, we are actually falling off the pace after not winning the last few matches in the league. We were at 1 point, quite close behind Partizan and Red Star. Now we're 7 points off Red Star and only 1 point clear of Vostok, who, quite frankly, I think could beat us to 3rd again. I don't like the fact I'm saying that, but I think it could happen. Hopefully, we can do better in the next couple of games. After we sold Stefan Belic, we actually decided to get the last upgrade possible for the training facilities, hoping that having a state-of-the-art training facilities will ensure all our players will be getting to their full potential. We're now on the 22nd of May. What have we been doing in the fixtures since the youth intake arrived? Unfortunately for us, despite beating Spartak Subotica, we lost 2 games in a row against TSC before we beat Nova Parza, and then we lost to Red Star 4-1. We then drew the next 2 games against Vostok and Partizan before losing 5-1 to Red Star. I mean, the Red Star have had a number this year, but at least the next 4 games, we didn't concede a single goal. TSC were nicking this, Spartak Subotica and Nepodek being our victims, though only TSC and Spartak Subotica were beaten, which is a bit of a shame. So what has that done for us in the league? Unfortunately, we missed out on 3rd place by a single point and missed out on a chance to get into Europa League for the very first time. We were comfortably clear of Nepodek, so there's that. And if we hadn't have dropped points against Nepodek, we would have been in 3rd place because Vostok actually won their last game. So we missed out on 3rd place by a single point, and if we won, we would have been 3rd. It's a shame, but that's what happens sometimes. And it's just annoying that we've blown it so badly. It really is. Reviews here though, and nothing to really talk about. Apart from the fact that Stefan Belic left us. We did get rid of a few other players as well. We got 17 grand for Dragan Dortovic. And yes, it's one of those things where we made the most ever money in a player. And it happened to be this season for a player we didn't really want to lose. We let a lot of players go on loan this year, and I think, honestly, all the players we let them go on loan is good for the club and their potential and for their futures, because we need to see more and more from them. The fact that one of our players got 24 goals on loan is very promising indeed, even if his performances were not good enough to get a 7.0 rating. We're told to get top half, we got 4th, and consistently we're getting the top 4 now, and I think we are officially the 4th best team in the division. It's in between Vostok and Kyrgyzstan that normally get in the top 4 with us. And yeah, it's interesting to see that we're all up there now. Vostok have officially become the 3rd best team, I think, at this point. Partizan and Red Star swapping over. And the fact that Red Star have a finally won the league for the first time in many years. It says a lot. We did get knocked out of the Conference League in the 4th qualifying round. Disappointed with that. And getting knocked out of the quarterfinals of the Cup. Again, not ideal. We need to do better in these cups. We really do. Biggest win was a 4-0 victory against Palanca, and the match to remember being a 3-1 victory away from home against Stankom is good. The goal of the season was scored by Rakitic in the 3-0 victory against Metalek, so let's go and see it. It's funny because this is actually potentially the last game we ever saw for Belic as well, and Rakitic did this effort, and that is one beautiful goal. But yes, now look at the finances. 3-star reputation still. We are just slowly but surely adjusting to our sponsorship. We are losing money everywhere else though, which is a bit of a shame. What can you do? And we're still making 266,000 a year in merchandise. And Bartronovic, Meditic, Mrstazovic, Hozo, and Kolon being the top 5 shirt sellers is useful as well. How we learned it was this. It's good to know we've got players doing well, and we are probably going to look at maybe replacing Vuk on the left wing still. It's disappointing that I have to say that, but I genuinely might need to do so. Bovic being the best right back is not ideal because he didn't have the best times for us. And Vukotic, maybe he can improve, but again, he's just 16. I'm going to be easy on him really, because we weren't expected to be losing Belic so soon. Accolades, Mrstazovic has got the fans player of the season and young player of the season again. Rakitic with the goal of the season. Meditic got 20 goals in the end. Jovanovic, I should really talk about, has got 16 assists, which is very good. It's actually a record in the season for us. Mrstazovic got 5 player of the match awards. Mrstazovic getting a 7.4 average rating, and Kolom completing an average of 111 passes per 90 minutes is good. Pasic, I think, is going to be his last season as a regular starter for us, making 420 appearances for the club. Meditic has actually officially become the top goal scorer in the league for us with 109 goals, and Belic's departure was the most money we've ever received for playing a save. So what are the expectations for the club this year? Well, we're expected to be mid-table again and to get to the 4th qualifying round of the Europa Conference League again, so nothing's really changed there. Honestly, everything's the same. It just feels nothing's going to change at all, which is interesting, but at least we know what to expect for next season. As for the Cup, Partizan and Red Star in the final. Red Star won it last year, and Red Star are the champions of the league this year, so Partizan need to win this final if they are to get some silverware at all this season. So, none of the teams that faced in the playoffs this year got relegated, but Montezuma and Baka Palanca were relegated. Our affiliates, well, Derek almost went up. They did lose 3-0 in the first leg and then drew one on the second leg, meaning they don't go up. But hey, at least that's happened. In the league though, Verzak and Predator Novi Sad are both going up. They will come to 10 points clear of 3rd place. And honestly, the fact that Roderick actually finished in 3rd place in the first season back in that division is kind of interesting. And it shows me that my players I sent out on loan to them, and it shows me that the players I sent out on loan to them did actually help them out quite nicely. Also, Trevor Ivajika hired my reserve manager, and then they sacked him. And they only finished in 7th. Honestly. The Europa League was won by Tottenham this year. They beat Lazio in the final. Europa League, we saw Liverpool win against Bayer Leverkusen. So the fact Liverpool in this competition in the first place is concerning. While Man City beat Chelsea 5-4 in the final to get that trophy. Unbelievable. So looking at the dynamics, one of the players that was influential is now highly influential, which is interesting. And the better personalities that Kolom and Meditic have had are starting to be the higher of the highly influential players, which I think if they get better and better, that'd be very good. Pasic, we're going to let go at some point, so that's why I'm not concerned about him. So now we're going to talk about our players, and Vukotic is our best goalkeeper on paper right now. He's very exciting at the age of 16. I think you can see why I'm excited. He's already got a value between 20 grand and 3.2 million. And his backup is also now a top flight quality goalkeeper, which means we've got 2 goalkeepers under the age of 18 that are good enough for the top flight. We are spoilt for choices. I have got MacLeod as well, but he's not that good. He's only a 3rd tier player apparently, even if Zoran Banduvich is considered still a 3rd tier player, and that's not even talking about the other goalkeepers that have just come through. Zikovic, after breaking his leg last year, has actually played 14 times this year and is starting to get better and better, and I'm excited for it. He is not the best in the world, but he is a decent player for his division, and I'm happy for that. Babic is also a player I'm hopeful will be very good for us in the long term. He's a second tier player now and he's 18. I need to give him more first team football if I'm to help his development. And the fact that Ibrahim Mustajar is considered the third best right back, that is not a centre back, is kind of damning and also is quite good. He's a third tier player though, but he's very consistent. He's 16. I need to give him first team football. And yes, he's also a winger, so a winger and a fullback is kind of exciting. Alexander Milanovic is our best left back, and he's actually considered good enough for the top flight as a decent player, so that's exciting for me as far as I'm concerned. What I'm a little concerned about, and I feel like I'm justified in thinking is that my new left back that came in the intake is already considered my second best on paper. That is not a right back or a centre back. That's concerning to me that Zoran Banduvich is considered the second best out-and-out left back ahead of Josip Music, who actually has broken his leg, so there's actually a reason for that. So that's concerning, isn't it? Still centre-backs, understandably we've got exciting ones. We do have Milicevic suspended for the next league game. Leo and Midstar both wanting. I think I can turn down Leo, which says a lot, but hopefully we can turn the Red Star as well. He's considered a leading player for his division, and he's still got potential to get better, I think. Hozo is considered the second best centre-back as well, and he is also apparently good enough to be a good left-back, but I don't want to play him there. He's a centre-back in my mind, even if he does like the ball past his opponents. And then you got Radislav Murder, who's considered to be, potentially on paper, the best right-back. I don't see it, even if I could literally do it, because of his crossing and dribbling. Yeah, that's why I'm not doing it there. But yeah, as a centre-back, he's 6'2", 16 jumping reach, 12 heading. He could be a weapon from set pieces. And is considered to be a good player, even if I don't start him a lot. He's only started 9 times and played 11 times from the bench in the league. I'm not using that often, and yet he is still developing, which is very useful. So we do have Nenad Olovic, and I think as a centre-back, he's probably our 4th best centre-back now, which is kind of exciting, and I am happy that we've got someone who's professional, considered to be a promising centre-back. We've got a lot of options, I think. With Colom, who is our best out-and-out DM that is not a centre-back or a centre midfielder, I am excited. He's considered to be a good player, not a leading player, which is a bit concerning, but what can you do? But what is a bit concerning, and I'm not going to talk about this, Olovic could be the second best DM, but apart from him, Matija Jedranin is our best DM after Colom, and again, it's concerning, but it's actually kind of exciting as well that we could use this guy. He's already developing quite nicely, and that's great. But we've also got the likes of Veliko Jovic, who is an exciting DM, a good playmaker. I think I've got good options now. But Jovic is the best out-and-out midfielder as far as I'm concerned for the centre midfield. He is wanted and actually is starting to look like he doesn't want to stay around. He's not interested in renewing his contract because of the team that wants him. I hate that because I don't want to lose him to Qatar of all places, but there you go. But Petrovic is now considered the second best centre midfielder. Igor Petrovic is looking good. He's already considered to be a good player for this division. And Rakitic is also looking quite good. And then you got Kotatar and Olovic considered to be the next best centre midfielders, which I feel is slightly concerning, but what can you do? This is my captain, by the way, and he's now considered only the 3rd best centre midfielder in the team, which says a lot. So let's now look at the right wingers, and Jovanovic is considered the best out-and-out right winger now, and he's 18. He's only a decent player. He is inconsistent, but he's exciting. And then you got Boban Vesanovic, who is also a striker and a winger, but is kind of exciting to say the least. Yes, the Pasic is considered the 3rd best. I'm actually listed him for transfer because I genuinely don't think he's good enough for us anymore. The fact that he's considered a decent player for the second tier says a lot. But we do have the likes of this guy. And he's also a striker. So, again, what can you do? And Popovic, again, a winger and a striker. Very exciting. He does need work. And again, another player who could be considered a striker. So, options to talk about for days. Wouldn't you agree? But then you got the Vuk, who is considered the best left winger. He's wanted, though, by Vofadina. And I don't want to give him that sort of fate. That would be cruel. So, Konatar is considered the best left winger now. And again, exciting that this guy is that highly rated by the backroom staff. He's also only 19. And that Marko Josipovic is also considered that good is again exciting. I think that we've got plenty of options coming through the first team now, and I am very excited. Militic is our record goal scorer. I'm training him to try and place his shots, which I think could be beneficial for him. Markovic is also exciting. He's actually best as a left winger, but I'm going to use him as a striker. He has got 27 goals in 118 league games so far, which again is useful. And yes, the fact that Boban Vasanovic is also our third best striker is interesting and says a lot about our team. He's also considered good enough for the top flight now, which, again, very useful to know. Even if he is inconsistent, he's worth between 1.3 to 2.4 million, which, again, is interesting. And the fact that Popovic is also considered the fourth best striker in the team, again, speaks volumes about the team. So going into next season, we are now considered the 7th best team again, but 33-1 odds to do well. I think the team is looking like a team that can legitimately challenge for the at least third place this year after we just missed out this year. Yes, we lost Belic, who's now considered the best goalkeeper in the league, but I think the players coming through are going to help us long term and help us be successful. I really do believe that. What do you think of the team? Do you think we can transfer the title within the next couple of years? And do you think we can finally get to the group stage of the Europa Conference League if we don't get a bad draw? I want to hear your thoughts and opinions down below, because I'm going to end this here. I hope you guys have enjoyed yourselves. I hope you guys like and share this video and that you subscribe to the channel. It really does help me out a lot. But anyway, until next time, goodbye and well, good night.